Testing 1, 2.
Yep, and it's there. I'll actually talk to this here in just a minute. Here, let's go. Good morning, professional photographers of Idaho. I am Bob Ryder.
And I am Larry Fry.
He is
Good
Larry
morning.
Fry. It is a good morning. It is a beautiful, cold,
Snowy morning.
snowy morning.
I couldn't. I don't know how late you guys stay up, but about midnight when I rolled into bed last night, I looked out the window. There was a few. I'm like, oh man, probably should have taken the garbage out. That type of thing. Got up this morning. Yep, should have taken the
garbage out, right? My wife is off to pick up my son at high school and do some driving.
Driver's ed driving.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. Cool.
Glad she's handling that.
Actually,
not me.
Actually,
right?
it's, you know what? Better to get him in on this snow stuff early, and wipers don't work right. It's just the stuff.
Yeah.
So,
I haven't even had a chance to tell you because you just breezed in here.
I was late today, folks. So,
but you're here.
I'm here.
You were late for being early.
I was correct.
but now you're here on time. So we've got a great show today. I say this often because I'm passionate about a lot of these topics.
We say it every week because it's true.
Because it's true.
Yeah.
I'm excited about this topic because it's super important, and I've got real life anecdote to share about some of these things, and I know you do too. But I want to talk about audio for a second. A couple of weeks ago, I built new audio filters into OBS, which is our broadcasting platform, and I think what hosed us last week on our audio was a gate.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for those of you that aren't nerds like me, a gate opens at a certain threshold. And if we drop below that threshold, the gate doesn't stay open. And I think it was just something we did, whether we backed away from the mics or we got quiet. I think the gate was just not opening.
I can't imagine
Clearly.
us getting quiet.
So anyway, I've backed the gate down. It's now opening at a much lower volume level so that we don't get into that lower end where it's not opening for us.
Right.
I don't know that was the problem, but that is a potential problem, and I've addressed that. Dennis mentioned to me last week or this week on the Connect that it was a tough broadcast to watch because the audio was hosed in the beginning and then it just left us.
It was a tough broadcast to do. When Bob does this by himself pretty much. Well, not pretty much. He does it all by himself. He sets it all up, does everything, and we're here by ourselves. And so when things go wrong, it's not an easy cover up. We don't have a technician in the background saying, no, go to this.
Yeah,
camera.
I can't put the finger at somebody else at all. It just goes.
But he does a great job. And with, we have no resources into this other than his resources. So,
which are substantial.
Yeah, which are substantial. And he does a great job with this. So my hat's off to him. I hope your hat's off to him also because he does a lot of work.
My friend Corey says, good morning. You guys sound and look great. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Corey.
I have done the updates on the computers that are running this. I have shut off all of anything that might be running in the background. Updates can do that. So they're paused.
Dog's in the house.
Dog is in the back of the house, right?
Yep.
And I've also restarted. So we run an Eero mesh in here, and I've restarted all of the beacons and everything on the mesh. We should be solid. That's my point.
Yep.
I've done everything I can think to do to make this run and look great. And here we are today. We've got a solid episode. We've got a great set of announcements at the end for you today.
And here we are running and looking great.
Running and looking great.
There we go.
Yep. I'm actually.
Hi, Corey. How are you doing?
We've got.
How's Colorado? Snow? Question mark.
Yeah. Do you have snow there in Colo? I don't know. Jen's on.
Hi, Jen.
Good morning, Jen. She says, thank you, Bob. I appreciate that. This is a side topic.
Here we go.
Here we go. I probably talked a little bit about CPP, the process that I'm in with that. Passed my tests. So did Jen.
Good for you guys.
And we've done our image submission, and now we wait.
Have you heard from Kim Mittner?
She's waiting to go through the program. She wanted to get a little bit more study and background in before she goes for it.
So she didn't do the test yet.
She didn't take the test yet.
Gotcha.
She's gonna take some time. She's got a lot going on, and she's been traveling heavily. So she hit the pause button for a little bit.
Yeah,
and cool. I totally get that. Yeah. It's a pretty big undertaking. But what it's done for me and what this process has done for me. So I guess we'll talk about this for just a minute before we get on to our topic. We're still good. We're like 5 after.
Yeah,
we're good. Corey says very little. It's cold today, 1 degree. It's a little warmer than that here, about
Yeah.
28, I think.
But we're getting your snow apparently.
Yeah,
So
we
yeah.
Anyway, about the CPP program and what that's meant to me, and certification's great. Letters after your name are great. I've decided that I'm pursuing my photographic craftsman degree. I'm about halfway there, and I didn't even realize it. Just with all of the teaching that I've been doing for the last probably 7 or 8 years. Um, all of this has meant to me um, a, a bigger presence in the PPA community.
Mhm.
So I finally realized that to me this is a career path. And you can choose if you go to a college, you have to declare your intent to attend a specific school. My son's going through this right now. He's declared for Boise State. He's been accepted, and he's going to go there and become part of their culture, and then carry that on through life. Right. Well, the same process is happening with me with PPA. I'm interested in the degrees, and I'm interested in the education, and I'm interested in the relationships with the people. Um, it's big.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
just got a lot more gravity than what I think maybe the CPP advertisements to us from PPA. They talk a lot about what it means to your customers and show you're certified. And I'm like, that's great. I don't think my customers care if I'm certified. They care that my portfolio rocks.
And your portfolio rocks partly because of the certification and the stuff you do to have to get that,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you
The
have to
pursuit.
you have to practice. Yeah, I totally agree with that, because I was on the affiliate leaders Zoom, whatever they had here a month ago
Yeah.
or
Well,
so.
Jen and I and Kim were in the CPP class.
Yeah.
Pre-con.
Actually, it was during convention, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
pre-con.
Yeah, the pre-con.
That's why we couldn't attend that, because we were
So-
already in a class.
I'm in there 100% newbie on the PPA front, and I'm like drinking from a fire hose. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
right.
they're throwing so much stuff, and this is a all day Zoom meeting, and it was packed
With states affiliate leaders.
yeah, from all over.
What a-
I mean, all
What
the
a
states.
pool of
So
resources, right?
they just killed it. I mean, there is so much stuff that we can do that you guys will see soon, I hope.
Yeah, as we
And-
begin to implement those
yeah,
concepts
so,
going into
yeah,
2021.
So we said this before. We're a new board, fairly new. Sam's got some
Yeah.
years, and Jen's got some years, but
Yep.
the rest of us are pretty new.
Sherry's been around.
Sherry's been around,
Well, that
but
sounded bad.
yeah,
Sorry, Sherry.
but yeah, there's so much stuff that we, not that we haven't been doing. I don't think we knew we could do it. So now there's more.
There's
coming.
just so much
Yeah.
more.
It's like Bob said. It's huge. It's a big organization.
So it really came to me as this is career path for me. And once I kind of got my bearings around that, once I kind of oriented to that, it started to make complete sense to me. Why image competition? Why degrees?
Yeah,
Why certification? Why service to the photographic community? Why teach? It's all big.
Why join?
Yeah.
I mean, all that stuff is why join.
So
right?
that is the bottom line for me.
Yeah.
Is
And you hit it right on the head. I mean, why certification? And you also nailed this perfectly. I have never had a single customer ask me, because I display the PPA banner on my
Mhm.
website. I never had a single customer ask me, "Oh, are you have your master craftsman's degree, or what do
Yeah.
these initials mean, or whatever?" Never had. They don't care about that. However, I can tell you that because of my association with PPA and other groups I'm affiliated with, that challenge you to step up your game
Yeah.
and rise to a level makes a huge difference.
so that this whole conversation would really dovetail in well with something we're going to hit at the end, but we're going to hit it right now.
Yeah.
I didn't intend for this.
Oh,
We've got some.
we jump into the end. We're done.
Well, I'm gonna jump to that slide here in a minute, but we've got some comments here.
Okay.
Laquita's here. Laquita and I have been talking this morning
Oh boy.
and, by messenger, and sidebar.
What?
Laquita and I were talking about helping her get a headshot.
Oh.
And I offered to do a headshot for her. She's like, "I can't afford a headshot." I'm like, "I didn't ask you to hire me for a headshot. I feel, and so this is big, and this is part of service, and this is part of why you're here and why I'm here.
Yep.
But I feel that uh, we've been given talents.
Mhm.
Everybody has maybe some different talents. I count on that. I count on surrounding myself with people that are smarter than I am. But I believe that we're here to help people with our talents.
Mhm.
Otherwise,
Absolutely.
what's the purpose?
Right.
Um,
And,
so
and it's weird that you brought that up because we just had an inquiry from a photojournalist. I'm not making this up, guys. We had an inquiry from a photojournalist that just moved into Idaho. I think he's in the valley here, but I can't remember.
Okay.
But anyway, he said, basically, he emailed us and said, "Hey, I'm looking at your website. I'm doing all this stuff. How can you help me? Why should I join?" And
that's a conversation to have.
it's a conversation to have, and it actually made me stop because I can rattle off to new people why you should join, like Heartbite. This guy is a photojournalist, a working photojournalist. He's already been in the business for
So the question
several years.
becomes, what can you do for the organization?
Well, that's how you turn it around.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yes.
So I've crafted a nifty email. I'm pretty proud of myself.
Nifty.
So yeah. So
I'm pretty proud of
we
you too.
got a nifty email, and and I think I've reread it enough times that I'm going to send it. And but it caused me to stop and think, why should us? Well, we got big audio. Why should we have a seasoned professional come in and you just said it? It's a community that we're here to help people.
Yeah.
And that's why you should be here.
Yeah.
And then who knows, you might make that contact that will just absolutely make your business go out the roof.
That's really true.
And you're going to help.
Gordon laughed at your nifty comment.
You're going to help newer photographers attain a level of business. And again, it doesn't matter how seasoned you are, you're going to see stuff that you're going, I've never seen that before.
I'm going to play on that for
Exactly.
just a minute. Yeah. Mike Collins says top of the morning, and Mike was with me on a job on Monday.
Hi, Mike.
And
I just sent him an email. So
I'm so grateful to have masters surrounding us.
Yes. Well, it's weird.
Mike was with me on a job this week,
Yeah.
and he was so great. He was just helping and shooting some behind the scenes stuff. And anyway, we talk a lot about community, but it really is it. We'll hold that slide that I was going to go to. We'll hold that to the end.
Yep.
Corey asked, did you guys never get your coffee mugs?
Never got
I'm
them.
glad to see Larry has a lid today.
I do have a lid. Just a tiny
I'm in
tip.
Krispy Kreme, and he's
I'm
in
in
Dunkin' Donuts
Yep.
today. But I did put him in a sippy cup because,
Well, because
you know why.
Because stuff happens.
Because stuff happens.
Good morning, Gordon and Sky.
Why
how are
don't
you?
we come over to here today and just start talking about our topic today?
Let's run this past them.
All right. So, guys, we're going to talk about trust today. And by virtue of the fact that you folks are watching us every week, there's a level of trust there.
Absolutely.
But I want to talk about how trust impacts the things that we do, how we engage with clients, how we engage with vendors, how we engage with one another. Trust is just absolutely ginormous.
It is.
And I don't think we talk enough about it. So let's dig in a little bit.
All right.
All right. I want to talk about this concept. And I was in a meeting one time and somebody was talking about trusting somebody to do something important for them. And it occurred to me that you don't always have to give your trust. You have to lend your trust. In fact, I think that establishing that relationship right off the bat about trust, I'm not looking to give somebody I just met my trust. I'm looking to find a way to lend it to them for a short period of time until they can prove that they can handle it.
Yeah. So there's an old saying about that, right? Trust
Right.
everyone, but always cut the cards.
So
So you're lending your trust.
I have a law enforcement analogy for that.
Oh boy, you don't play cards?
No, it's not card related. Above the door, leaving the locker room for years was a sign that said, have a plan to kill everyone you meet.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because situations can turn deadly in the blink of an eye.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to be part of that conversation. So now this is a kinder, gentler me, I think, than that time frame where everybody was suspect. I have a plan to trust everyone I meet,
Mhm.
and until they show me that I can't
They
lend it to
can't.
them.
Yep. Yep. I agree.
Anyway, says video keeps flashing momentarily black. Anyone else? Gordon, I think there's a dip to black when I change cameras. There is a dip to black when I change cameras. That's an OBS function that I should track down, but that's what you're seeing. You'll probably see that because I just did it, but we can see that here on our screen where it dips to black there
Actually, I can see it on the our
on
little
the feed.
tiny. Yeah.
Yeah. But I can see that on our program monitor as
Yeah.
well. So there is a dip to black when I change camera angles, and you may not perceive the camera angles because I don't have it off to the side like we were.
And that doesn't mean we're dips, Gordon. It just means it
It
goes.
might mean we're dips, Larry. I don't know. All right. So coming back to trust, because I don't want to derail this conversation. Talking to people every day and building relationships every day, even, and I don't know how many of you network as part of your business or as part of anything that you do. You may not know it, but you're networking at church, you're networking in the grocery store. I am. All of those places. I might not be talking about what I do.
Bob networks out in the middle of the desert.
I indeed do that out in the salt flats. I find friends, right?
Uh-huh.
I found people to talk to and shared something in common with them.
But to your point, you do network, and especially if we can talk all we want to, but like you're wearing apparel that's directly related to you, which is your business. And if you're wearing that apparel, you're networking whether you know it or not.
Yeah.
So it doesn't even necessarily have to be verbal, but if somebody sees Bob Ryder headshots, like, oh, okay. So he goes out on the web, types in Bob Ryder headshots. You just networked with him, but you didn't say anything.
Yep.
So yeah.
In a networking environment, one of the things that we're trying to do, and I'm going to pull into this closer camera. One of the things that I'm trying to do in a network environment is establish trust. And the networking groups that have worked the best for me, we should probably do an episode just about networking and some of the finer points of networking. I really try to avoid the groups where it's just a business card swap and elevator speeches and walking away down the road. I try to avoid that. I have a way of managing those contacts. I have a policy where it's shaking the hands, which is not happening right now. It's kind of like a weird do we or don't we, and most of the time we don't.
Elbow, foot bump.
It's weird, right? But it's basically it's the greeting, it's the card swap, it's the see you later, and then it's a follow up email the next day. Hey, I enjoyed meeting you, blah blah blah. But I'm trying to build in a very very short period of time. I'm trying to build trust. The networking groups that I have gravitated to now are membership groups, and we have a core team or core group of people that meet every week to lift each other up, to help each other with our businesses. We're way past the elevator speeches. We're way past telling each other what we do. Now we're talking about, hey, my sister's having a hard time, and I need you guys thinking about me. It's, in the very grand scheme of things, when we have that family stuff going on, it's a disruption to our business, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're seeing that economic bottom line change, maybe not, but for me, and I know Sam Marvin was talking about this a little bit on his 7FP. He asked the question, like, what's holding you back? And for me, concentration is a big deal. I struggle with concentration for certain tasks.
I do all the time.
You might notice that while you're watching me here.
Yeah.
Because we do kind of cover some different tasks.
I go down rabbit holes constantly.
Yours is buying new lights.
Yeah.
I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
So let's come into here. I'm going to ask this question of you folks, and I'm going to keep coming back to this slide. If you have a moment, I'll put the slide up and I'll talk over it here for a second. If you have a moment to write these questions down, we're going to come back to this the next 20 minutes because everything that we're going to talk about relates to these questions. How do you define trust? I think there's different levels of trust. I think there's different gravity to those different levels of trust. I think there absolutely needs to be that way. Do you trust easily, or is it difficult for you to trust? And how do you work with either one of those? Because if you trust easily, you can be burned. If you don't trust easily, you might miss out
You could
on
be
an
burned.
opportunity, right?
Yeah,
You can
yeah,
be burned either way, right?
yeah, yeah.
So, and then the question is, how do you earn trust? And I want to say it. How do you earn trust? Right?
Yep.
Because I mentioned this earlier, trust can be given, trust can be loaned. If I'm going to go into an environment and I'm going to say, I'm your guy walks in I photographed 9 people in the studio yesterday for headshots. And my first guy in sat down, like he came in, he was well prepared. He sat down. I'm like, man, you look like you're having a great day. He goes, I'm just here to have fun. I'm like, oh, hold the press, man.
Well, that's a client. There you go.
Because that was fantastic. The third or fourth person in did not want to be here. I can't state that enough. Okay. He was not off my front porch before he took off his work shirt and put something else. He walked to his truck with no shirt on. He could not get he was required to wear a very specific shirt for his photo. And he was out of here. And before he was even at his car, he had stripped it. It was different, right? But I still had to establish trust with him. Like, look, man, I know you don't want to be here. I'm not even going to ask you to smile. But we got to do this for the boss. We got to make it look as good as we can. And I'm here to tell you, if you've got somebody in front of the camera who doesn't want to be in front of your camera, it's probably going to look like they didn't want to be in front of your camera. And that's what it is. We made a headshot. Is it a portfolio? No, it's not. He didn't want to be here.
No.
But those are like opposite ends of that trust spectrum. Right, the first guy in the door, he sat down. Trust was like, here you go. I'm just here to have fun. I trust you, man, to make me look good. Woohoo!
And some of those guys, they probably worked with a photographer before. I mean, that's possible, right? And then the guy that doesn't work with a photographer goes, I don't even want to do this. Or maybe, maybe he's a huge introvert. That happens too. I don't know you. I don't care about you. I don't want to see your camera. Nothing. I'm out. So I think one of the things in that scenario is it's probably good that the guy that was like, I'm here, let's do this. The third guy or fourth guy, whatever it was, it came in. And if I know you probably had some of the shots up on your monitor. Oh, maybe this guy does know what he's doing instead of instead of him being the first guy, which would have been a difficult situation for you. So,
honestly, when they walk in, because I've got a client monitor, when they walk in, there's a headshot on the monitor in the style that we're going to create for them. This is a company I do a lot of work for. So they walk in and there's one of their client images. This is what we're shooting for today. And they have that expectation. And I asked that question to a few of them. Like, have you seen the work that I've done for the other folks in the company? And they're like, oh yeah, we've seen so and so and so and so. They look great, man. Let's do it.
Which is and so now we can roll this back if you want to. So now these are your customers coming. These are actually customers. They're coming to you. They're customers. Let's roll it back to when you first try and get their job. You're trying to instill trust in them that you know what you're doing. Now, let's go back all the way to the very beginning of our conversation. Do those initials mean something at that point in time? They sure could.
So you've got credibility as a talking point here. Credentials is part of credibility, right? It's credentials and credibility are your credentials can build that credibility.
And we've talked before about this. Bob hands them an actual portfolio.
Yeah, printed portfolio.
Like a 11 by 14s in a portfolio. Whether you do it that way or you do it via the slideshow on your computer, which I personally think that the portfolio is considerably better because prints just have a way about them. But
they've got gravity.
Yeah. But at any rate, whichever way you do it, when you meet with that client, please trust me. Here's my portfolio. Yeah. Please trust me. And I've done it, I don't know, hundreds of times trying to get clients, especially in the wedding business. They're very picky, as most of you know. So, and you can't wear that out on your sleeve. Somebody says, I can do that. Fine. You're not my client. Have a nice day. But that's another conversation. But you're trying to instill in them, trust me. I know what I'm doing. Been there before. It's not my first rodeo.
Well, and sometimes you can't say, trust me. overtly be like, look, you need to trust me because of this. Sometimes I'll try to weave that into conversation. Like, look, um, maybe they're talking about, classic for me in my world is they've got employees that aren't here,
Yep.
that can't get here for shoot day. And I'm like, you know what? It's okay, because we're going to build something that's repeatable, that works today or yesterday or tomorrow or a year from now. And and by the way, let me show you some examples of that. That's where the printed portfolio comes out. We just updated our portfolio. The first image in our portfolio is a 9-up. Okay, it's 9 images of one company's headshots as our opener in our portfolio, because it says what we do in one image.
Yep.
I can build a corporate brand image to match with anyway. This isn't about me. Let's talk about Jen here for a minute. She says, I feel I'm an open person willing to listen to all points of view. I trust myself to make a decision based on what I feel is best. So less walls with people and bracing against them, and more strength in my abilities to discern my choices. That's solid. That's really, really good. But I think there's people all across the spectrum. I trust easily, and because I really enjoy talking to people,
No.
but I want to get past the fluff. I want to get past the
Yeah.
cheesy website bio.
Yeah.
I want to get past the LinkedIn bio. And I want to find out who they are. You probably know this, but before your client hires you, they're stalking you on social media
Oh, absolutely.
to see what kind of human you are,
Just
and
take,
if they want to do business with you as a human.
let's just say you use Facebook regularly as a media to get out to people, and let's just say that I would challenge anybody to go look at your statistics, and they have them out there, by the gajillion. Before you go meet that person to see if you can book them, well, first of all, go look at your statistics like 2 or 3 days before. Go look at it the day before, maybe even a couple hours before, and then go look at it the day after, and you will see that spike. Looks like a COVID spike, like that, on who's hitting your page. And not, in my experience with weddings, not only is the bride hitting your page, her mom, her grandpa,
Her
sister, all the bridesmaids,
best friend.
for sure. Maybe the groom, probably not. But it's an amazing spike.
He's checking out the bridesmaids.
It's an amazing spike, and they know, certainly they know a little bit about you before because they've seen your work. That's what piqued their interest, right? But then after that meeting, they will know everything that's on your website, pretty much. I guarantee. And if you don't use,
So this is an opportunity to build trust ahead of time.
Yeah.
I've had a client I'm trying to connect with out in Napa. It's a big client. First time I went out to meet with them was a miss. I got stiffed. He wasn't there.
oh, that's right. I remember
Okay.
the story. Yeah.
Some folks would probably be like, "Burn me, I'm done." I got back. I waited a day or two. I sent a follow-up message in his preferred manner of communication. Said, "Hey, man, I'm sorry I missed you. By the way, I really enjoyed talking to your office staff. I learned that one of his office staff lives in the next neighborhood over
Nice.
this way,
Yeah.
and there's a new Mexican restaurant at Ustick and Eagle, where the breakfast cafe used to be."
Oh, no kidding.
So again, this is me networking while I'm at his office and trying to score some points for the office staff there, and talk about, she lives here. What school do your kids go to? Oh, our kids go to the same school, or this and that. It's just about building those relationships in a very short period of time. Sometimes that can be accomplished over a course of days or weeks or months if you're engaging with a client who's thinking about hiring you for something next year.
Mm-hmm.
There's communications, consistency of communications, quality of communications. I've talked about it often. I'm always trying to communicate with my client in the manner they want to communicate with me in. If my client reaches me through Facebook Messenger, guess what?
Yep.
We are having a conversation on Facebook Messenger because that's how they chose to reach out to me.
As crappy as it is.
It,
Yep.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
At some point, I have to move that conversation to email so we can do contracts and billing and those kinds of things. But That's
And
part of the trust game is
and that point would be probably the meeting, the face-to-face meeting, and they say, "Hey, I'd like to work with you." And at that point in time, you say, "All right, I will be in touch via email,"
yeah.
instead of
Well, and I
messenger.
don't always with my commercial clients, I'm not always getting a face to face. A lot of that's done through correspondence, and at some point, I just have to be like, "Hey, I, can you forward me your email address? I need to move this to email so that we can do some of the documentation." And all my business people are like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense." Um, I love to ask a question. How'd you find me? A lot of my commercial clients find me on Google, um, or through LinkedIn, or through professional networks here in the community. So let's come back. I didn't throw this slide up here. Um, this is going to lean into these two slides are going to associate with each other, Larry.
Okay.
Okay. Um, I think the most important thing that you can do at the time of meeting somebody to build that rapport, to gain that trust, I think the most important thing that you can do is be genuine. We're reading your comment, Jen. We didn't just get quiet.
Our microphones are still on.
Okay. I challenge you to do what one of the speakers said to try from imaging, to ask people who follow you to share 3 words that describe you so you can see what the perception is of you. I know a lot of folks that did that. I know a lot of folks that attended that class. The problem is the folks that you are asking to do that are your friends. So your friends are going to tell you the things that are edifying to you. Um, the difficult thing here, I'm going to twist that concept, Jen, and make it more fruitful from a business perspective. The next job that you don't get, ask them those 3 questions. Ask them those 3 words. Tell me about your perception of me. Tell me why I didn't get the job, and I'm fine that I didn't get the job, but I'd like to know why. If we're only asking the people that love us to give us feedback, we're missing a really important part of that feedback. Sam was talking about this too recently, where I don't have this down, but the conversation basically went that Disney sends people a survey while they're still in that honeymoon phase following their visit. What are you going to get? Oh, we had an amazing time.
Yeah.
It was great. It was 106 degrees in Southern California. There's smog, the lines were long, and the prices are too high at the restaurant. No, that's not what they're going to be telling them.
Right.
We had a great time. Everybody's on that emotional high from coming back from vacation. You wait 2 months and you ask them about their experience, they're going to tell you it was hot. We had a good time, but it was hot. The lines were long, and man, that burger was $18.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, I followed that conversation from convention, but I think it falls on its face. And,
So-
I'm not criticizing the author of that. It's different strokes for different folks. But
And-
for me, if I'm going to seek feedback that's going to shape me, I need feedback from the people
That
that
don't-
might be more
Yeah.
critical.
And so Jen followed up. She said, "You do this on your business page as well, so not just friends."
Yeah. No, I get that. It's I think there's merit on both sides, but I speak my mind, which sometimes is great, and sometimes I get asked to go away. But whatever. You haven't fired me yet, so we're doing okay.
It's because you own all the stuff.
Yeah, well, it is what it is, right? So let's come back to this point, if we could, about being genuine. And the next point that I'm going to drop in as a slide here.
Yeah.
People want to do business with humans,
Real humans.
real humans. So I'm going to tell a story.
You got a great anecdote. for this. Yeah.
You know what? We are planning convention. Jen and I have put in, honestly, a huge number of hours and a huge amount of effort in this. And the beginning of this planning started with finding a venue. And I reached out to one of my existing clients. It's just been a pretty fantastic relationship. And so I called the number and left a message. Hey, we're interested in talking to you about seeing your space for our convention, blah, blah, blah. About 2 hours later, the phone rings and I recognize the number as my client. This is them returning my call, right? This happened right as I stuffed a cracker in my mouth. And I'm crunching away in this cracker and the phone rings. I don't know if you've ever tried to whistle after you've been eating crackers or talk, but I'm like, I'm not missing this phone call. I'm just not going to miss this phone call because I stuffed a cracker in my mouth. So in my very best, I have a cracker in my mouth and I'm trying to hide it voice. Good afternoon, I'm phonography. Hi, Bob. It's Leah. Leah, hold on just a minute. I just stuffed a cracker in my mouth when the phone rang. Oh, thanks for that. Thanks for giving me a minute. I appreciate your patience. I didn't want to miss your call. Your call is really important to me. So I decided to answer the phone with a cracker in my mouth. I apologize for that, but you were really important to me. Guess what?
We have a venue.
Just human.
Yep.
Just human as can be. This isn't scratching the armpits and picking the nose and, it's just being human in a very natural kind of way. And you know what I'm talking about.
Yep. I know.
Right?
Exactly. Yep.
This isn't flatulence and, this isn't what I have a house full of boys. This isn't that human, right?
Yeah.
That's the other side of humanity, the underside of humanity. I'm just talking really,
No, it's
really about being just genuine as all heck.
yeah. So you guys might notice my shirt here.
Mo Light.
Mo Light on it. Michael Mowbray, I've known him for a while, and I buy all of my Godox products through him. And here's the reason why: as not only is he a small business owner and trying to do what everybody else is trying to do. First of all, he's a fantastic photographer. I believe he's a master. He's a judge. I mean, he's knows his stuff.
Yeah, he knows a lot of the people that I've connected to recently.
Yeah. So, and he's human. And no matter what you do with your Godox light, no matter what kind of stupid question you have or something you're doing wrong, he will gladly answer your questions. And I know his phone number, so I just call him. So I got a little anecdote to say about that. So
Okay.
I was down in LA shooting pinups, and a buddy of mine were magazine bound, and we just bought our AD 362s. That's the head with a separate battery unit.
Yep, a few years ago.
And we both had just gotten them, and I got two, he got two. So we decided, and we were shooting in a rental studio because they had more room. We had, I think, 23 models. And so we're trying to expand our spaces. And for those of you who've been in Southern LA, behind the alleyways and stuff out there, they're scary, but kind of cool. So this is in Anaheim. We took some models outside to give it a shot. So we stuck a couple of AD 362s up, and I think we were working with 4 models at a time at that point in time. And no, the wind didn't blow, but we're like, man, that light it's just
I
not
thought you were
working.
leading to this story where
No,
your light comes tumbling
no,
down.
there's been plenty of those. But no, the lights weren't working. And we're like, so I go out and watch him. Dave pushes the trigger. I come back. I push the trigger. He's watching. Yeah, they're going off. Can't figure it out. And the AD 362 is a bare bulb, like a AD 200 with a bulb sticking out of it. Okay. Well, they come with these cheesy little reflector things. They're about a 4-inch round reflector, not very big, not very deep, maybe 4 inches deep, maybe 5. And this cheesy little reflector fits over the bulb and kind of does a half twist lock.
It's like a bayonet base.
Yeah, it's just weird. Anyway,
that was then.
Called Mowbray. Hey, Michael, your lights are a piece of crap. They aren't working. And Michael's like,
I'm back. Sorry.
Michael's like, well, what are you doing? So
That was almost a spit
I
take.
look at my phone and I turn around and I, videoing the whole thing and show him. He goes, where are the reflectors? Well, we wanted the light to scatter more. Well, he said, well, it is. And sure enough, we went and got the reflectors. Who knew? and things worked a lot better. So,
once you actually concentrated the power a little bit.
Yeah,
so they were working. They just weren't working well.
They were working hard, but they wasn't very efficient. My point is, it was on a Saturday afternoon at 4:00, and he picked up the phone. And now, I do know him, but I know that he would answer questions from anybody pretty much at any time if he's not working or doing something else. So
he's going to wind up with a whole bunch of phone calls.
Good.
And he's going to be like,
So anyway,
get you.
Speaking of trust with him, it's a real human being. He warranties. This is a shameless plug, and I don't get paid from him. I'm not on his investor team. Nothing. He warranties his stuff for 2 years. You got a problem, you send it back to him. It's fixed. If you have a bad battery, you send in the battery. It's fixed. You have a bad board. Yeah. He just repairs.
He's a great resource in our industry. Yeah. And
anyway, enough of that. It was just that. That's the
really
trust. That's the trust issue. Is that I could call him and say, "What am I doing wrong?" And he goes, "Well, you're an idiot. Get the reflector, put it on there," and that's the kind of stuff that we all do.
That reflector thing is like PFM, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Some of these folks are gonna be like, PFM? Call me. I'll tell you what PFM is. Yeah. We use a lot of PFM in the service. That's how we fix stuff. How does that work? PFM.
Yeah.
All right. And actually, I know that Mike Collins knows what PFM is too, I think.
Or RTFM. Same thing. Yeah.
Tabitha. I don't think I know Tabitha.
And hi, Tabitha.
I would love to know where you're watching from.
Tacey joined. Hi, Tacey.
Yep, Tacey's here. There's a lot of great people on today. A lot of good comments. Jen, I really appreciate what you've poured into the conversation today. Jen's a great person to listen to on this case of trust, because I trust her, like implicitly. Let's roll over and talk about some of these other points here. You mentioned this earlier.
Yeah. So there's a couple of things that for trust for you to.
You talked about the cut the cards.
Yeah, for you to trust people is trust everyone, but always cut the cards. But on the other way around now.
Tell them what that means.
Well, that just means, like, for example, when Bob and I met, I trusted him. Not only because, well, I don't know why. Because,
fellow nerd!
Yeah, fellow nerd. We geeked out in Albion for like an hour or two, maybe, just talking after lunch or something. Anyway, but I don't think I would give him the keys to my house and say, hey, would you go over and get the mail and put it inside?
That's because you got a lot of really great stuff over there.
I do. That's true. but that's always cut the cards. So you never want to just like, I trust you. Fine. Now let's see about that trust. It's that type of an idea.
That's what I was talking about earlier. There are levels of trust. There's a trust that you loan. You meet somebody, they sound right. You loan them your trust. I'm not giving it. They don't own that.
Right.
But I'm going to loan it to them for a little while we see if this trust is going to develop into something greater.
And how does it develop? There's 2 points that I want to make on that.
Great.
So, first of all is promise and deliver on time, every time. And if you're not on time, don't make an excuse out of it.
Yeah. Excuses suck.
No excuses. Own your mistakes.
Yeah.
Bob, I cannot make it at 10:30. I have, I'm lazy.
I think I heard you slide in the snow as you pulled up out front.
I set my brakes out at the corner and slid in. But you don't want to oh gosh, you know what? I just, I couldn't make it because, my dog was sick.
The last thing I want to hear from somebody, I'm so busy. Yeah. I'm sorry I missed that. I'm really busy. Uh-oh. You just lost my trust.
But you can say, man, I am busier than heck, but you know what? I will get to that.
Well, so when you tell somebody you were too busy to get to their work, you just told them they are a low priority.
Yeah, so again, levels of trust, depending on who you're talking to and what the situation is on that. But like if I tell
that is absolutely true.
Yeah. So if I tell Bob I'm busier than heck and I can't get, but I'd never tell a client that.
Right.
I'd say
that was my point.
That's awesome. I'll tell you what, let's make an appointment at 1:15. I'll be there.
You're there.
Yeah. And you're there.
Yeah.
And you don't, they might be late, but that's okay. So basically promise and deliver, do what you say and say what you do, basically, and then own your mistakes.
Own mistakes.
And if I've done this before and it is a horrible call to have to make, I can't meet my deadline. I just can't get it done in time. I can't. And that's a bad call to make. So there was 2 things wrong with that.
Don't pound the table because they can hear that. It's
okay.
There's
2 things wrong with that. I can't, first of all, I should have put my deadline out there where I could make it, right? So overpromise, or is it overpromise?
Underpromise, overdeliver.
Yeah, I almost got that backwards. And then,
well, because we live in a society of overpromising
and underdelivering,
and I hear this so often. In dealing with commercial clients, I talk to a client. They call me up and say, um, hey, we spoke by email. I'm hiring you, and I get there, and they're like, we hired you because you're the only one that responded to the request, or you're the only one that returned my call,
Hmm.
or you're the only one that did what you said you were going to. I hear this often, and I don't know what this says about our industry, but when I had a retail store, brick and mortar, I managed the whole plaza that my store was in, and we were the anchor tenant, so we had a lot of the building anyway. But there were other stores, hair salons and stuff in the facility, and so I hired electricians and plumbers and people for grounds maintenance. And I'll tell you what, man, you no show when you say you're going to be there, and I need the work done. You are fired.
Yeah.
And
Well, and
you call me and say, look, my kid's sick. I've got to get him from school. I'll be by as soon as his mom get home or whatever. As soon as I can get this covered, you're my first priority. That's fine,
that's
right?
fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody understands life.
Well, and so that goes all the way back to this point, right? About people want to do business with humans.
Yep.
Don't give me some line of crap. Don't give me a load of bull.
Right.
If something happened, own it. Tell me something happened. Great, we're moving on. I'll share something, and I've got to be careful with this. I did some work, landscape architecture photography last year for a client, and this is September. Um, I haven't delivered the job.
Oh.
Oh no,
Oh.
I wasn't paid for the job.
Oh, then you don't. Deliver.
There's an invoice outstanding. We wrote it off. I still have the work. I have done the work, but I didn't deliver it. I still own it. And I got a call from him this week.
Oh.
Hey man, right after you did that job, I was in a car accident. And I'm just getting back on my feet, and you are on my list of people to take care of. I want to get you paid, and I want to get those pictures on my website so I can get the business going. Great. You know what we did? We re-invoiced. I eliminated the late fees and everything that had accrued, because there was a billing period. There was a billing cycle that went through of, here's the invoice. You're going late. Here's the invoice with interest. Here's how that's going to work. And at the end of the year, we just wrote that job off. But so we've re-invoiced, and we're sharing some conversation by text. Okay. He didn't give me a load of crap. He probably should have talked to me sooner.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not here to make enemies in my industry. I'm here to build clients. So once again, I'm going to loan him my trust, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so Gordon had a good point. He says, trust them with your camera trust. Well,
My camera's insured, man.
Yeah. That's a good question, Gordon. Yeah. My camera's insured too. And if someone came to me and say, hey, I'd like to borrow your camera, and I don't know them that well, my first inclination may be to loan them my backup camera.
I have a backup to my backup. That's the one I would lend.
Yeah.
And because I'm not going to loan my moneymakers. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Sky Facet, thank you, Bob and Larry. It was great listening to you today. I think she's telling us we should be done.
Yeah.
She says, I really like it when my agents tell me they trust me. That's a real big deal. I need to hush this for a moment. That's my clients calling in. So listen, we are over time, and I wasn't even going along with that. Listen, we're going to hit 2 points, and then we're going to get out of your face today. The first point is, I don't want to leave this one yet. Okay. Folks, I hope I've enjoyed talking about trust with Larry and about trust with you folks and the comments that we get. And I'd love to hear in the next few days, maybe over the weekend, build some comments into this or PM me. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this issue of trust with your clients and friends and family too. I mean, it goes a long ways, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
Anyway, let's keep this conversation going because it's a big topic. The next thing I want to jump into here is membership, folks. If you are watching and you're not a Professional Photographers of Idaho member, PPI makes this possible. PPI makes this kind of conversation, this kind of communication possible, this kind of community possible. We can't labor the point. Take a look at ppofidaho.com. Under the Join Us tab, you can see that we're $100 a year or $9.95 a month to join us. And we'd love to have you on board as part of the community.
With the 12-month commitment on that monthly.
Yep.
So,
and then the next thing I need to drop this on here. Our convention is April 9th, 10th, and 11th. Our Registration will be open probably Saturday. Is that reasonable?
It'll probably be open late this afternoon.
We're gonna claim Saturday morning.
Yeah, Saturday morning.
You can registration should open tomorrow morning, and be open for a spell. I don't know if we've put a close date on it, but we will have to. We'd love to have you join us for convention this year. We've set on $195 for convention. That is less than in past years. And it is both hybrid and in person. There's a lot to say about this. So maybe we'll devote an actual episode just to it.
And when he says there's a lot to say, there's a lot
There's
to
a lot
say.
to
We
say.
have a lot going on.
A lot of
this
great
year.
instructors we're going to offer. And I don't want to get onto it because we're 10 till.
Yep.
And I want to let these people go.
Yep.
And I have a lunch date at 12:30.
I got to get my car out
So
of your
it's
driveway.
here in Meridian at the Silverstone Plaza, right at Eagle and Overland Road,
Overland, yeah.
right off the I-84 there. It is a really terrific venue. It's not a hotel, so you don't have to deal with the public. We're going to have the place to ourselves for most of the time that we're there, which is amazing. Our host hotel is Candlewood Suites, right across the parking lot there from our venue. We've blocked 10 rooms there at $85 a night plus the taxes and fees. $85 a night for a single queen in the same parking lot.
It in Meridian. That's unheard of.
It's awesome.
Listen, guys, get your images ready. Okay, a digital imaging competition.
Yep.
This is not a heads up. It's it's a heads up.
Yeah.
Get your images ready. Yeah, you can get up to 4. We got prices coming on that.
Well,
Also, we will also have on Tuesdays Members Connect.
Yeah, this coming Tuesday.
Which is also open to the public, I believe.
Yeah, this is our our usual Members Connect, but this is open for everybody. It is Dennis and Sherry Hammond are giving us about an hour on
Image competition.
And
what, so for those of you that don't understand what to do, the 12 elements, that thing escaped me. The 12 elements of an image, composition, all the stuff. They're going to go over. Okay, so you entered this one. What's next?
Yep.
If you want to go on with it, they're going to go over merit points.
We're losing viewers, so let's
we're gonna
wrap
do
it
a
up.
whole bunch of
Convention
stuff.
April 9th, 10th, and 11th.
Yeah,
Look
we're
for
all-
the registration links coming up.
We're excited.
And then next week we're going to talk about Make It Your Own. And this is a conversation about
styling your photography when you've seen something you really, really like and you want to shoot just like it.
It's
So,
about imitation and creativity
yeah, that's it.
and how to make it your own.
Bob said it in 2 words. I took like 20.
All right, folks, thanks for joining us today. It's been great. And we will see you next Friday, 11 a.m. Take care.
Cheers, everyone.